It is Saturday, February 17th, and the Splash Zone is still not quite back in your life, but I am still Matt Modi, and I am talking to you in this video about the 2024 NBA All-Star Game. So what I'm going to be doing is a little bit of a betting preview of the All-Star Game, giving a lean on the total, giving an official pick on the winner outright, and then giving out two MVP predictions as well, two that I actually did lock in. One among the favorite in terms of odds, another one that is more of a long shot. So going to be doing a deep dive on that. If you're new to my channel and you're kind of wondering what I do here, this is mostly just for fun. So definitely would recommend unit sizing responsibly for the All-Star Game, right? It's really hard to find any actual positive EV value sharp type of plays on a format like this. So half unit plays, quarter unit plays, all that stuff is what you should be doing for the All-Star Game. Normally on this YouTube channel, I give out NBA player props for the NBA season, and then for MLB, I give out home run picks. Very, very successful on both of those on this season for my NBA player props. We're up over 44 units with an ROI above 25%. So it's been going very well this season for the NBA player props that I've been giving out. Would recommend hitting the subscribe button if you are not already. And then for this specific video, if you can comment, all that stuff does help me out a ton. But let's get into the All-Star Game. So the most important thing to note before getting into anything is there's no more Elam ending for the All-Star Game, right? If you're unfamiliar, basically the fourth quarter of the past couple years, instead of just being a normal timed quarter, there'd be a target score that teams would have to hit. So obviously the game is a little bit different. Not the case for this one. Just going to be 4 12-minute quarters like a standard NBA game. 4 12-minute quarters, no Elam ending. In terms of the total, I will admit, I do not have any money on this. I'm not going to bet the total at all. My lean would actually be towards the under 364.5. Taking the under in an All-Star Game is horrifying. That number, it's just too high. It really is simply too high. Now, the total last year in terms of the over-under was 325.5. That was with the Elam ending. So yeah, the total's 40 points higher, but for good reason. But even if you look at the past couple years before the Elam ending, a total hasn't gone above this number since 2017, right? Last year was 359. That was with the Elam ending. But even with non-Elam ending, again, the total was, it hasn't exceeded this number since 2017. So I'm not actually going to bet the under. I did just want to give out a lean if people did want to bet the total. You're going to be watching the game. You are not going to be wanting to root for no points to be scored. So that's kind of why I'm not taking it. But if I had to give a pick, the better play, the more valuable play actually is on the under. In terms of my thoughts on the actual game, I'm running with the East money line, right? At the time of this recording, you can get it at plus 125 odds at BetMGM. I got it at plus 128. I would still take it at plus 125. I understand why the West are favored because top to bottom, they do have the better players. But I actually think that the East is the play here. You have to keep in mind the format, and you have to keep in mind the players on the team. Yeah, the name value of the Western players is way better. And if this was an actual 7-game series where the teams were trying to win, the West would win in 5 games. Much better team. But look at the guys on the West. Luka Doncic has never tried in the All-Star Game. He's appeared in 4 NBA All-Star Games. He has never scored more than 8 points in any of those 4 games. Look at Nikola Jokic. He's even admitted that he doesn't care about the All-Star Game. His exact quote was, "I would not pick me either. I'm not meant for this game." Which makes sense. How does Jokic play basketball, right? He's not the high-flying, chucking it from deep kind of guy. He's like, how come no one's making backdoor cuts? Where's my two-man game with Jamal Murray? The All-Star Game, the format does not favor Nikola Jokic. 2 of the best players on the West are not going to be trying. And then there's LeBron. At one point in his career, LeBron really did care about the All-Star Game, put in a lot of effort. That hasn't been the case recently. He's been giving less and less effort as the years have gone on. Beginning in his career, he was consistently playing 30-plus minutes in the All-Star Game. Well, he's played fewer than 20 minutes in 3 of the last 4 All-Star Games, and he scored single-digit points in 2 of the last 3 as well. That's another guy on the West who isn't going to be trying. And then just look up and down the roster in the West. Yes, they do have some young guys, of course. There's Anthony Edwards, there's SGA. There are young guys on the West, but the majority of them are grizzled vets who just aren't going to put that much effort into this game, right? Anthony Davis. The guy's always hurt. You think he's going to care? He's won a championship. You think he's going to care about the All-Star Game? Kawhi Leonard is already nursing an injury. He's not going to try in the All-Star Game. Paul George, kind of the same thing. Those guys are trying to be healthy for a playoff run. And in an All-Star Game format like this, it really just does come down to effort. In the East, have a lot more guys that are unproven in the league trying to make a name for themselves. Tyrese Halliburton, first-time starter in the NBA. First-time starter in the NBA All-Star game. He's going to try. Jason Tatum scored 55 points in last year's All-Star game. Even Damian Lillard, who obviously is not a young guy at all, this is his first year starting in an All-Star game, which is crazy, but you think about all those guards in the West, and it starts to make sense. But his first year starting, he's going to try. Then you have Tyrese Maxey making his All-Star appearance. You have Trae Young initially as a snub, as I mentioned. He's going to try more in this game because he's in the game, but he was a replacement due to injury. He was not an initially voted as an All-Star. Jalen Brunson's first time in the All-Star game. You just have younger guys. They're going to be putting forth more effort. So that's kind of why I like the East money line. I think they're going to win straight up. Again, the plus odds I do like. Again, put a half unit on this. Don't unit size responsibly. Don't go crazy because it is the All-Star game nonetheless. But my official prediction is the East. So with that in mind, in terms of my MVP, my favorite in terms of MVP is Giannis. Now, he actually is the favorite to win MVP. He's at plus 650 odds. So even though he's got the shortest odds, plus 650, still pretty good. And there's a couple boxes that you need to check in order for a player to win the NBA MVP. Number one, they need to care about the game. That's the most important thing. They actually need to be trying. Giannis has shown that he definitely cares. Last year, he only played in one possession because he was injured in the All-Star game. The previous 2 years, he had scored 30 points in each of the previous 2 All-Star games. And Giannis is the type of guy who doesn't know how to not try. And the way you defend Giannis is you build a wall and you have to be physical with him to build a wall to not let him drive to the hoop. No one's going to be doing that in the All-Star game. The guy's just going to have free reign, free runs to the paint where obviously he can yam like the best of them. He obviously has a massive name in the NBA, which helps. He's a 2-time MVP. He's a Finals MVP. He's one of the biggest names in the NBA. His team, despite a recent cold streak, they've been a top 3 seed in the East basically the entire season. A little bit of a slump, but Giannis is still playing great. Checks all the boxes that you need for an MVP. And I like the fact that he didn't play last year. He played the one possession, didn't really play. So he's going to be giving more effort this year. So Giannis as my favorite in terms of the MVP bets, my long shot, and I got to give a shout out to Josh Lander, aka Lander Bets, J Boogie, who put me on this pick. I definitely took it from him, but I really did like the value, so I wanted to give it out on mine as well. It's Trae Young to an MVP plus 11,000 odds. 11,000 odds. It's $5 to win 5,500. It's 11, and then there are 3 zeros after. That is how long the odds are for Trae Young to win MVP. As I mentioned, I do think he is going to be trying very hard in this game because he was initially an All-Star snub. And Trae's game is perfect for the All-Star game. If he catches fire from deep, he's going to wow the crowd, making 40-foot jumpers. He's also one of the best passers in the NBA. So yeah, he's going to throw a ton of lobs to Giannis, a ton of lobs to Bam. He's going to throw half-court passes, off the backboard passes. He's going to be doing crazy stuff. And if he catches fire, I could see them just riding with him and letting him let the hot streak keep going, letting him keep shooting, keep running the point and all that stuff. So for plus 11,000 odds, I think that value is insane. Again, literally a $5 play. I put $5 on this one to win $555. If he comes through, that would be amazing. That would fund literally everything this entire weekend. But that's all we got. So there's 3 official bets that I actually did lock in myself. East money line, Giannis MVP, Trae MVP, and then a lean on the under. And if the West does win, I gave out 2 East picks. My prediction would be Kevin Durant. Even though he is one of the grizzled vets that I talked about, he has shown that he cares about the All-Star game, and he's another guy that can just catch fire from deep. I don't have any money on Durant, but if you did want a guy for the West, he would be my prediction. And that's all we got. Hopefully we have some fun watching the All-Star game. Hopefully we get some of these long shot plays to cash. Again, remember to like the video, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.